I spent the last 3 years missing out on summer. Too tired, too puffy, too foggy, too much pain and physical discomfort. Too much being in my own head and worrying about how I looked inside of a bathing suit. I miss the version of me that loved summer, wearing cute outfits and spending long days at the beach or by the river. And I just couldn't accept not recognizing myself in the mirror, and I didn't want the discomfort that I felt in my body to become my new normal. I was determined to find myself again, and I'm happy to say that this year I'm stepping into summer knowing that I accomplished my goal. And it wasn't done by going on some crash diet or signing up for intense boot camps. Instead, over the last year, I figured out in a very specific and very tactical way what was actually wrong and what to do about it. So today I'm giving you all of it, less of my story and more of what worked. Hey loves, and welcome back to the Perfect Sunday podcast for women who want to grow as people without pretending they don't care how they show up. I'm not an expert, I'm just a woman who's been paying attention and figuring things out along the way. I'm excited about diving into this week's episode, but first, let's go over this week's Sunday obsession. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a friend about this eczema flare that I've had on my scalp. Over the years, it comes and goes, and it usually appears in a new spot each time. But this particular flare-up has been pretty persistent, and even though you can't really see it, the itchiness and the white flakes it leaves on my shoulder is just beyond annoying. She told me that she uses clove water whenever her scalp flares up, and she's a fellow autoimmune girly, so she has some of these issues that she has to deal with herself. So I went and I bought a bag of cloves. I went home, boiled a pot of water, and put 2 tablespoons of cloves in there, and I let it steep overnight. The next day, I poured that into a water bottle, sprayed it on my scalp, and let it sit for an hour before washing my hair. And it was amazing. My scalp did not itch at all the whole next week, and the amount of flakes was definitely noticeably less. And it's now a part of my wash routine. I just used it for the 3rd time today. I can't tell you how happy I am with the difference this has made. I have tried so many different types of shampoos and scalp treatments trying to address this issue, and just putting this clove water on there has made the biggest difference. So, ladies, if you deal with any scalp issues, give the cloves a try, because I definitely wish that I knew about this sooner. Before I get into this playbook, let me give you a quick picture of where I was starting from. I'll keep it short because I really want to spend most of this episode talking about what worked and not on what was broken. 3 summers in a row, here is what summer looked like for me. I would wake up tired as if I hadn't slept at all. I was puffy to the point that I hardly recognized my face when I looked in the mirror. By 2 p.m., I'd hit a wall so hard that I'd have to either nap or push through with a lot more caffeine. I was drinking around 1,000 milligrams of caffeine every single day and still had a very hard time staying awake for more than 2 to 3 hours at a time. I'd plan beach days and then cancel them because I just didn't have the energy and I didn't want to be in a bathing suit. This also made me feel really guilty because I didn't feel like I was doing enough fun activities with my kids during the summer. I didn't want to be around people, and I really didn't even feel like leaving my house. I'm sure you can relate when I say that when you're in constant pain and discomfort, the last thing you want to do is socialize with people. But the next year was worse, and the following year, which was last year, was physically the worst year of my life. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's 10 years ago, so I'm no stranger to navigating life with health issues. But last year was on a whole new level. I had several doctor's appointments every single month, and I was being tested for new autoimmune diseases. Thankfully, those all came back negative, but they ended up giving me no answers to what was going wrong. Because my joints hurt so bad, they tried putting me on medications for joint pain, which did not help. And my stomach was so bloated and in so much pain, and I was so nauseous, I was afraid to leave my house. I went to a gastro specialist. They gave me every test that they could think of. I did multiple ultrasounds. I even did a 2-week fast. It's called the elemental diet, which was supposed to be like a complete reset for your gut. It did not help. And then as a last ditch effort, I did several courses of antibiotics. As the year came to an end, I was pretty depressed, but more determined than ever to figure out what was going on. I was not going to lose another summer to my health. Even though I didn't know exactly how I was going to fix it yet, I just knew this couldn't keep being my life. I do my blood work every 6 months, so I know it wasn't a deficiency. But what I could see was that I had a lot of inflammation. So I spent the next 6 months paying very close attention to my body, what made it feel worse, what made it feel better, what were the patterns, and slowly building a list of small things that actually move the needle to my feeling better. So today I'm going to give you that list, the whole list with the how and not just the what. But before I do that, a really important note. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I am not a coach. I'm not selling anything. Nothing in this episode is medical advice. Everything I'm about to tell you is what worked for me in my body with my situation. So please take what serves you, leave the rest, and be sure to talk to your own doctor about anything you're going to try that could interact with medication or a condition. Okay, with that out of the way, let's actually get into it. I'm going to keep this short because I want the bulk of our time on the playbook, but you need just enough of the science to understand why the small things we're going to talk about actually make a difference. So here's a very oversimplified version of what I've learned. Your nervous system has two main settings. There's fight or flight, that's like a gas pedal, and then there's rest and repair, which is like a brake. Both are normal and both are needed. The problem isn't either of them on their own. The problem is when you live in a constant state of stress or with the gas pedal pressed down for years on end. Your brake stops working. When your gas pedal is stuck down like that, you're constantly in fight or flight, your body produces a lot of a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is not the villain. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what helps you handle a hard meeting. It is what is produced when we are stressed, and sometimes that is necessary. The problem is when it's elevated for years and years on end, which is an unfortunate reality for a lot of us. And here is the part that I want you to understand because nobody told me this, and once I learned it, it really changed everything for me. Chronically high cortisol does 5 things, and I bet at least 3 of them are happening in your body like right now. First, it retains water in your face and your body, and that is the puffiness. You may have seen people online refer to this as cortisol face, and it is a real thing. It's not just a TikTok trend. So you may notice that every time you go into really stressful periods, your face might look a lot more puffy. This is something I definitely notice in myself. Second, it disrupts your sleep. So you end up sleeping 8 hours and still wake up exhausted because you're not getting the deep repair level of sleep that your body actually needs. Number 3, it scrambles your blood sugar, which is why you crave sugar in the afternoon, why you crash at 3 p.m., and why you have such a hard time focusing. Next, this one is actually scary, but it actually steals your words and your memory. Chronic elevated cortisol is considered neurotoxic to the brain. Prolonged exposure causes structural changes to your brain, specifically shrinking the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory, and accelerating cognitive decline and promoting neuroinflammation, which means that staying in constant states of high stress is making you more susceptible to diseases like Alzheimer's. And 5, it drives inflammation, which shows up as puffiness, joint stiffness and pain, skin breakouts, hair loss, gut issues, just the whole works. For me, and probably for a lot of you with any kind of autoimmune or thyroid situation going on, inflammation is the one that really hits the hardest and shows up the fastest. So when I felt tired, puffy, foggy, and in a lot of physical discomfort, that wasn't a moral failing, and it wasn't just getting older. That was a chronically dysregulated nervous system producing chronically elevated cortisol in a body that was already inflamed and just trying to survive. The good news is that you can teach your nervous system to come back down. It's not going to happen in a day or in a weekend, but in teeny, repeatable, completely free ways, And it's something that you can work on every single day. And every single time you do, you're chipping away at the loop. So that's what we're going to spend the rest of this episode going over. Okay, so this is the heart of the episode, the full playbook, if you will. For each one, I'm going to tell you why I think it works and exactly how I actually do it. These are listed in the order that I would suggest starting them. Don't try to add all 8 at once. Instead, just pick one, do it for 2 weeks, then add another. That's how we're going to build habits, and that's how I did it. This is how it ends up sticking and just becoming a normal part of life. So, number 1 is start the day with a high protein breakfast within an hour of waking up. When you wake up, your cortisol is supposed to spike. That's healthy and it's how you wake up. But if you immediately pour coffee into a body that hasn't been fed, you end up stacking cortisol on top of cortisol. Then you crash at 11, then again at 3, and then you wonder why you feel insane. Eating something with protein, fat, and complex carbs first thing tells your nervous system that you're fed and that you're safe. I'm going to be honest. I've had one of my doctors telling me to do this for at least 5 years, probably longer. And I've heard so many experts on women's health say the exact same thing. But I've never been a breakfast person, not as a kid and not at any point during my adult life. So aiming for 30 grams of protein within the first hour of waking up was a very big challenge for me. But I finally started doing it, and I have to say, it made a huge difference. Most days, just to make life easy and because I don't like to work out with a full stomach, I do a protein shake. It's just coconut milk, protein powder, and a couple dashes of cinnamon to spice things up. It's simple, but it gets the job done, and it takes less than 2 minutes to make before running out the door for the morning school drop-offs. And then on the weekend, when I have more free time, I might do something like a tofu scramble with greens and avocado. Or if I plan the night before, then I might make a chia seed pudding with a scoop of protein powder and some hemp seeds and berries. And that's it. I don't like to overthink it. I want to keep it quick and I want to keep it easy, and it gets the job done. Number 2 on the list is getting morning sun in your eyes within 30 minutes of waking. So light hitting your eyes in the morning resets a clock inside of your body called your circadian rhythm. When the clock is calibrated, your cortisol curve starts behaving the way it's supposed to. High in the morning and then low at night. So sleep gets better, your energy gets better, your mood gets better. And it's the most no cost, no effort intervention that I've ever done. This is another habit that really doesn't require much, but for reference, I'm always up before the sun. So as the sun is rising, I will sit out on my balcony if it's warm out. And on colder days, I just open up the glass doors and sit right in front of the window where the sunlight streams in. I sit and I journal and I enjoy my tea or my warm lemon water, which is coming up next. And I'm getting 2 things done at once. You can sit on your porch, go for a short walk outside, water your plants, anything outdoor facing. The key is that you're getting natural full spectrum light on your retinas. So not looking at it through a window and not through sunglasses either. Even on cloudy days, even if you just have 5 minutes, that is still going to be better for you than not doing it at all. Number 3 is drinking warm lemon water with a pinch of sea salt before coffee or any type of caffeine. So your adrenal glands, the glands that produce cortisol, need sodium and minerals to function properly. When you've been chronically stressed for years, they are depleted. Most of us are also chronically underhydrated and overflushed by coffee first thing. So sipping a glass of warm water with a little bit of salt and lemon before you touch any caffeine just gives your adrenals something to actually work with, and it rehydrates you after not drinking throughout the night. After I wake up and before I do anything else, I drink a large cup of warm filtered water with just a little bit of juice from a lemon and a pinch of mineral-rich sea salt. I like to use the Baja Gold signature mineral sea salt, and I drink it slowly while I sit outside getting my morning sun, and then I have my caffeine. I have never been a coffee drinker, but I am addicted to yerba mate. After about a week of doing this, I started noticing that I had a lot more energy in the afternoon and I was less likely to need my afternoon naps. So if you don't love sea salt, a clean electrolyte powder works too. I like the one from Element in their watermelon salt flavor. If you're looking for one, that is one that I would definitely recommend. Number 4 on the list is rethinking the way that I worked out and then started to move differently. I used to be a runner. I used to get up and go for a 6 to 10 mile run 6 days a week for years and years, and I loved it. And I can't tell you just how much I miss it. But it's something that my body will just no longer let me do. When your nervous system is fried, high intensity training like Barry's Boot Camp, Orange Theory, or running isn't going to make you stronger. It's just adding more stress to a body that's already drowning in stress. So stress means more cortisol, more inflammation, and more puffiness. Every time I try to take up running, I will last about 2 weeks at most before my body goes into a full flare up. And then I'm bedridden for at minimum a month. So it's just not something that works out. I ended up switching to walking and slow strength training, and my body actually started to change in a positive way for the first time in years. Most days I aim for a 3 to 4 mile walk. That usually takes just a little bit over an hour. But on the weekend, when I have more time, I love to go down to the beach and walk a full 6 miles. It turns out that I can go the same distance. It's just going to take a little bit longer with walking. And since that doesn't end up causing any flare-ups, it doesn't cause any cortisol spikes and inflammation, this has just become a much more sustainable way to actually work out. And then I aim for at least 3 weightlifting sessions a week, focusing on big movements like squats, deadlifts, and lunges. And that's it. No HIIT workouts, no spinning, no running. It turns out that I can do the same amount of miles every single week, but it's just going to be at a slower pace. And walking does not cause any cortisol spikes. It doesn't cause the inflammation inside your body. So in the end, it ends up being a much more sustainable way to work out, and I can keep up with an actual workout routine. Moving on to number 5 is magnesium glycinate at nighttime. Magnesium is one of the first minerals that gets depleted when you're chronically stressed. It's also the mineral your nervous system uses to calm down. So it's really just a doom loop. The more stressed you are, the less magnesium you have. The less magnesium you have, the harder it is for you to calm down, and so on and so on. Magnesium glycinate is excellent for relaxing the nervous system, improving your sleep, and alleviating stress-induced brain fog. And because of its calming nature, it's often favored for relaxation and sleep support rather than like cognitive enhancement. So I take 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium about 30 minutes before I go to bed. I like the brand Cal, and it can just be ordered on Amazon. I take my pills with a glass of water or my evening tea. You'll typically start to notice improvements in sleep quality within the first week and full benefits for chronic conditions within like 1 to 3 months. Number 6 is what I call my 5-minute lie down, which is just a 5-minute meditation or quiet time to help calm your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is the main nerve of your parasympathetic, your brake pedal, like we talked about earlier. Stimulating it tells your whole system that you are safe and that you can rest. Slow belly breathing is one of the easiest, most effective ways to activate it. Some people might not want to call it meditation because meditation makes a lot of brains shut down. And this is just a little bit more active because you have a specific breath pattern. So how I do it is once a day, ideally somewhere between 2 and 4 p.m. when my energy is naturally dropping. I lie flat on my back on the floor or on my bed with a couch. Really, it doesn't matter. I put one hand on my chest and one hand on my belly, and I breathe so that my belly rises first before my chest does. So you're going to take a deep breath into your belly. Once that fills up, then continue to breathe to fill up your chest. You're going to have a slow inhale through your nose for 4 counts, and then slowly exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. And I do this for 5 minutes. Sometimes I end up falling asleep, which is nice, and sometimes I don't. But that's really all there is to it. Number 7 is about protecting your peace. So saying no without any type of an apology paragraph included. Every time you explain a no, your nervous system reads that as defending yourself, which means it still thinks there's a threat. So example for this would be saying, I'm sorry, things have been crazy. I've been meaning to text you back. I really wish I could, but you get what I'm saying. The shorter and cleaner the no is, the faster your body gets the message that you are not in danger and that you can rest. And the more that you can say no to things that drain you, the more you will actually have to give to the things that are fulfilling to you. So my template for this is some version of, thank you so much for thinking of me. I can't make it this time, and I hope you have the best time at whatever it is. And that's it. No explanation, no apology, no promise to make it up later. The first 10 times or so that you do this, you may feel like a villain, but most likely by the 11th time, you're going to feel so much better and you're not even going to be overthinking it. Number 8 is sleeping with your phone out of your bedroom. Every time you grab your phone in the first 30 seconds of waking up, you're injecting your body with adrenaline and cortisol before it's even had a chance to acknowledge the morning. The same in reverse at nighttime. Doom scrolling at 11 p.m. is telling your body that the world is on fire, pretty much literally at this point, right when you're trying to send it to sleep. The phone is hands down the single biggest cortisol input most of us have. So removing it from your bedroom is just removing the fuse. I have never been a good sleeper, so I'm always on the lookout for anything that can help improve my sleep. And one thing that made a huge difference was I bought a real alarm clock. More specifically, I bought the Hatch Sunrise alarm clock. This was big for several reasons. The first being the white noise setting helps block out small sounds outside that were waking me up through the night. The second is the sunrise alarm. So basically, it mimics a sunrise over a set duration of time. There is a soft glowing light that will gradually get brighter over 15 to 20 minutes. And the gradual exposure to light prompts your brain to start releasing cortisol, which cues your body to start waking up naturally. And that usually happens without the alarm going off at all. But in the chance that the alarm does go off, you can choose an alarm sound that is soft and gentle, like birds chirping. My favorite is the wind flutes that are playing. And there is no more harsh blaring alarms that put you in panic mode from the very moment that you wake up. The next thing that having an actual alarm clock does is it allows me to keep my phone in a different room while I sleep. My phone charges in the kitchen overnight, and in the morning, I get out of bed, have my lemon water and tea. I sit outside in the sun. I don't touch my phone for the first 45 minutes to an hour. At night, the phone goes back into the kitchen. By 9:30, I read a book in bed, always a paper book, not Kindle, just because I don't want any more electronics with me. It feels a little bit weird for the first couple nights. You may have some separation anxiety, but after a few days, you get used to it and it's just fine. So that is the whole playbook. 8 things. None of them require a coach. None of them cost much to start. And every single one is something that you can begin doing tomorrow if you choose. But the thing I really want you to hear is just pick one, just one, and start with that one thing that made you nod your head the hardest while you were listening just now. And do it for 2 weeks. Let that become a proper habit and then add another item. That's how I did it. It was done slowly, but that is the way that the nervous system actually heals. I want to spend the last few minutes painting a picture of what a real day looks like when all of these things are running in the background, because I oftentimes see women comment that a wellness routine like this is not practical to real life. And I get that in theory, trying to add 8 new things into your daily routine sounds like a lot. But in practice, once they become habits, It just becomes a part of your life and they're invisible. You really don't think about it. So here's a typical day for me right now. I wake up around 5:30, and I know that's a little bit early, but I do it because my hour of solo time before my kids are up is very important to me. I drink my lemon water, then I sit and journal and do my EFT tapping while I have my tea and get some sunlight. And then around 7, I get my son up for school and I have my protein shake while making his breakfast and lunch. And then I drop him off at school. Then I go for my walk or to the gym. The middle of the day is whatever the middle of the day is: work, family, errands, life. I drink my electrolytes and amino acids throughout the day, and midday I do my 5-minute lie down meditation, usually between 2 or 3 when I can feel my energy start to dip. I work from home, so I will just take a break from whatever it is I'm doing. But if I'm out, then maybe I will go sit inside my car and just push the seats back and just take that 5-minute little rest to myself. And this is something that can easily be done on your lunch break or wherever it is that you are. Next, dinner is whatever it is. There's no rules, but it's always a real meal with protein, vegetables, and good fats. Preferably around 6:30. I don't like eating too late at night. And then around 9, the phone goes away. I take my magnesium. I do my skincare. I practice guitar or I read a book. And that is it. That's the whole routine, which is just 8 things in their right places at the right times of day. And the thing is, once it becomes a rhythm, it doesn't feel like effort anymore. It's just life. But a slower, softer, and more hydrated, awake, and present version of it, if you will. So that's what I want for you this summer. Before we wrap up, one quick thing I want to say. If you've been feeling the way I described at the beginning of this episode, the tired, the puffy, the foggy, the dread of being in your body again this summer, I want you to know that your body is not betraying you. Your body has been keeping a quiet list for a very long time of every yes you should have said no to, every cry you swallowed in the car, every time you smiled when you wanted to scream. And eventually the list just got too long for your body to hold quietly. The fact that you are tired is not a character flaw, it's data, and these 8 things that we just talked through are how you start giving your body different data, day by day, small action by small action, until your body starts trusting you again. For your challenge this week, I'd ask you to pick one of the 8 things that we talked about today, just one that you think will make the biggest difference, and the one that you think that you are most likely to stick to for 7 days, even better for 2 weeks. And that's it. That's the whole assignment. If you want to make it even better, I would start with the morning sunlight tomorrow morning. Within the first 30 minutes of waking up, just go sit outside with no sunglasses on for at least 10 minutes. And that is the gateway to most of the other items on this list. And it's the easiest one to actually pull off every single day. So in closing, the 3 things I want you to walk away with today before I let you go are: number 1, you don't have to lose another summer or another year. And whatever last year looked like, this one can look different. And the difference isn't going to come from a 30-day program or a $400 cleanse. It's going to come from 8 teeny, free, repeatable things that you can do yourself every single day. Number 2 is stress isn't the problem. Dysregulation is the problem. So aiming for a stress-free life isn't realistic, and I doubt it's possible for anyone. So instead, the goal is to give your body more calm minutes in your day on purpose every day until it remembers what calm actually feels like. That way, it's easier to return to that calm state when you are feeling stressed. And number 3 is, this is just what worked for me. I'm not a doctor and I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I tried and what I found to actually work. So use what serves you and please leave the rest. If this episode found you when you needed it, please send it to at least one woman in your life who you know could benefit from hearing some of these things. If you haven't already, please go follow the show. Leave a 5-star review and a kind comment. It helps the show grow, and I truly, truly appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram at Monty_Wheeler. Come tell me which of the 8 things you're trying first, and I read every single message and all my comments. So thank you so much for spending your Sunday with me. I'll talk to you next week.